beating the odds of becoming. A tale about one man who, like many before him, set out to achieve his dream, which has now manifested into one of the fastest rising label companies of the 21st century.
The McRecords Story is a tale of success created from humble beginnings, hidden away from the world behind this very storage room door. Well, until now. Unit 111, or as it became affectionately known as Studio 111.
My name is Bennie Frederick McDonald Jr. Though personally I have as many show and or nicknames as anyone, I guess. Don't know why people limit themselves to just learning about their cultural present or past. It's like having a fear of death without realizing, that each and everything that you think, say, do, and create in life perpetuates your immortality automatically. Most of this story is about the entrepreneur chapters of my life, beginning around the time that I was a lead singer in an agency combined dance vocal group called the Motor City Flyers. We were the house band or show band at the Motown Cafe Worldwide. My stint actually started at Universal Studios City Walk. Not long after the opening of that venue, the Motown stars decided that this was not something they were going to be into. So, as it was, our show was just like their original shows, you know what I mean? So we readjusted, retooled it into a live show with a 4-piece band. Unfortunately, it wasn't a hit either. So, soon after Universal closed the cafe and opted for another venue. But fortunately, I'd had enough of Orlando at the time and had made plans to try Los Angeles. While living in LA, I took a job at American Radio Network. I wrote and produced a radio show that turned out to be the pilot to my motion picture project. The initial idea of it developed from an album project that I had came up with, in a dream. It had some improvised dialogue going on between a stack of singles that I'd written just before taking off from Orlando. 2 months before leaving, I found an article in a local music magazine that was seeking music from local acts. So I sent it in, didn't hear anything for about a month. Then 3 days before hitting the road, I get this call from a radio show in Sanford, Florida, that the DJ tells me that the lead track Just For Tonight has been receiving this airplay for about 2 weeks solid and wanted me to come in for a live interview. Then I left for LA the next day. Okay, now that all that is caught up, the situation became a constant commute back and forth to Orlando from LA. And even with tons of research, development, and learning, mind you, I didn't have a clue big this project would become just in the pre-production stages that followed. You know, it all became clear on my final trip to the East Coast pre-COVID-19, when all these thoughts and ideas finally hit the drawing and planning board or were on paper, allowing me to review each of the bits of experience and knowledge I gained or I learned while working in the entertainment industry. And now being in a position where I'm able to actually capitalize on it. Although the plans had begun taking shape, I was proud of that. They were still the matter of where to settle exactly. So after considering the production cost versus each coast, East versus West, all signs pointed to Florida. Being a native, it was easy finding my way around and things got off the ground very quickly. As a start, I joined BMI as a publisher and created MacLaw Music BMI, which is one of the first businesses under the JRS company's umbrella as soon as I returned. Also, at the beginning of my settlement in Orlando, I landed another radio gig. But this one was at one of the top 5 radio stations in the nation, WPRK 91.5. The freedom I was provided at WPRK allowed me to try several outside projects, one of which gained me producer of the winning song in the travel channels, I Want My RV contest. And needless to say, I'm grateful. These things all combined really aided tremendously in my networking and collaboration tactics, especially in my ascent to success.
So, meanwhile, on the other side of the world, so to speak, everything was getting more exciting and my motivation and confidence continued to grow. Still, the need for the right type of facility wasn't accomplished. I'd put together somewhat of a budget, but was it enough? And who knows? Then one day I got a call from a rental property manager. Next thing I knew, a deal was made and I got a set up for a month-to-month contract. By the way, I gotta tell you, everybody thought I was absolutely nuts. But selecting this unit was a great choice in the moves that were being made. It afforded me the opportunity to remain true to the Hollywood backlot concepts and ideas that I had adapted while I was in Los Angeles. My whole concentration hinged solely on garnering double or more usage out of this same structure. As soon as I got the basics of the floor plan laid out, put the wiring in place, it took no time getting everything built in after that. But once the equipment was moved in, I was really rolling, because I soon began making all the demos that later were finished singles.
Though still a budding but multi-talented entrepreneur, Bennie McDonald Jr. was able to design, build in, and facilitate enough to achieve the levels of growth needed to flourish, and thus began full-scale productions, and now having all the tools needed gathered together under the roof of this meager 10 by 20 facility. This plan, though clever and brilliant in its conception and manifestation, Bennie openly admits that he borrowed from such dreamers as Walt Disney, the creators of IBM, Apple, all blended with ideas from a movie called The House.
And thus by infusing those concepts with the fact that success is the unwavering belief in a worthy idea, JRS Companies was formed. During the recording process of these particular singles, I paid close attention to the works of my contemporaries and peers, and though our songs were somewhat similar, they were still worlds apart. I kept in mind, though, that it's important to keep the attitude and the right type of non-date stamped, catchy themes in these songs, or in our approach here with McRecords. I continued to refine, though, because these songs had to withstand the test of time. That was point blank, no question. I focused at this time on creating smash product. Built up a pile of about 40 singles. I came up with the yield that was 4, if any of them had any hit potential. In the order of recording, I Like the Way You Twerk became the first single. The next single that shortly followed was That Way. By the time I got to the third single, I decided to take an old topic and put a new spin on the subject of it. and came up with Money. Now the fourth one we designed especially for the ladies, entitled Good-GoodLove. Oh yeah. These 4 singles gave me an idea that we've got something here, and it was definitely time for at least a soft release EP and to get other wheels of progress turning. I acted upon building each of the teams the company would need for success at this point. I needed in-house team, which included admin, publishing, production, artist and repertoire, booking management, branding and marketing, as well as manufacturing, all equally as important. And continuing still, while all these activities are taking place, the Live with Bennie show, although a pilot, is still a big hit and was on fire. But after 5 years of being the #1 show of its kind, it was time to move on to the next stage, and going out on top proved to be best. Having separated myself from the longevity of the pilot at the radio station allowed me to devote my full attention and all of my energy into the company's all legal affairs, setups, and things in order, as well as the projects we were producing and preparing for release. Now, going back just a little to the first 4 records that we released, those songs, internet-wise, did a lot for McRecords and City Records brands. They also earned us awards for #1 singer-songwriter and #1 soul R&B consecutively on Reverb Nation alone. It was these things that led to us adding manufacturing and marketing to the focus. We were selecting songs from the publishing catalog to use in the motion picture, and that resulted into an album project called Introducing Benjamin COVID. It'll have about 3 forthcoming hit releases with a probable 4th. All in all, a well-rounded 11-track CD, and is also another lead into the movie. I remember starting out with it. One of the ways that truly helped me a lot was writing short comedy monologues and sketches, recording them, and then broadcasting them on the radio show and responding to the tracks with live improvisation.
And now, from the adventures of Frederick S. Black.
Well, that's all the time I can spend with you now, folks, and fellow listeners of the Live with Bennie show. Thank you for tuning in to this first installment of the McRecords Story. This is Bennie McDonald Jr. saying, love yourselves and all the best. Talk to you again soon. To be continued in the next installment of the McRecords Story. This is Maverick Jacobs saying good night.
What?
I'm dealing with my feelings. I just can't let go of my life. Oh, can't breathe no more. No, not like that. Yeah. Now don't bring the beat back. Oh, I know it seems so long when you want to, wishing for love to come along. And it's been some time since I've seen you, girl, and I must say it's been a good move on, baby.